business started in 1903, and I'm the third owner. So that's actually Stormy Kromer there. And so
Really? That's neat.
yeah, so what? Yeah, that's what happens. You know, oftentimes we'll get to this fictitious story you guys made up about this guy making a hat. No, it's kind of real, you know. So this is actually the 1925 patent of the hat, the ear flaps on the hat and things like that. So this guy started this whole thing, and there's tons of stories about him. Like, he didn't like to work. His name is Stormy because he was a jerk and he had a really bad personality, and we've gathered all that, and the real true people that have been wearing them all their lives and everything like that just really, you can't believe it when I'm giving it to. I give a tour once a week. We give one every day, but I jump in and just kind of stay fresh and everything. And I mean, they're just listening to every little detail.
Yeah,
this guy is 1932. He's their nephew.
Okay.
This is 1932. Last July, there's a couple standing right there, and the kid said he's 24, and he says, "That's my grandpa." So,
Really?
yeah.
Really?
So so there's a family involved, and they love it. The fact that we kept it. And in 1964, he sold it to this guy, who kept it going by making that hat and these hats.
Okay.
This hat in the characteristic welder, pipe fitter kind of hat, and they basically just stopped making this hat. So he quit making them. The local dealer that's right there called in an order and said, I'd like to buy some hats in for next year. And he said, "I'm sorry, we're not doing that." They said, "We're not doing that anymore." So he saw me that afternoon and said, "They quit making hats. You should do something about this." And I said, "Get me the number, I'll buy the damn company." I mean, that's really what I said. And it was kind of a joke. And the next thing I know, I'm out in the back in the plant. My office is on the other side of the wall. And I came back into my office, and there was a little slip of paper with the name of the place is the Hobby Wheel, and it had Kromer Cap Company, and here's the number. And I called the guy and just struck up mainly a friendship. But what he didn't get is that's what happened to them, and they're sending out hats. This is my family, and there's pictures of everybody's family. This is my grandpa in 1942.
Wow.
He worked for the same railroad. Stormy Kromer actually worked for the railroad. And the only picture we have of him kind of working is right there. But they worked, my grandpa and Stormy worked on the same railroad, and they were 6 years different in age.
Oh, really?
And I didn't know either one of them, but I'm assuming they probably had bumped into each other because Stormy was selling hats and the railroad wasn't. So it was the Chicago Northwestern. And this is my other grandpa's grocery store, and so I was in the manufacturing business, and our model for the company is that we'll sew anything that will help us survive in Ironwood, Michigan, / the United States. And so it's not white T-shirts for, and it's not sweatshirts, it's not. And everybody that focused on one main thing started losing their business in the early 90s. That just started going out of this country. But we just kept saying, "Oh, we'll make things." We're at the store that's selling our hats, and I said, "I want to show you where my hats are being sold, because this is all new to me. We got stuff on a rack in Cabela's. It's really fun." And we're walking in. It's Labor Day weekend. And it's like 90 degrees out, or 89 or something. We're in shorts and shirts and walk in there, and there's a guy standing there at the counter buying 2 hats. And he said to him, I said, "Can I ask you a question? It's hotter than the Dickens out, and you're buying a winter hat." And he says, "Yeah, but this is a Stormy Kromer hat." And I says, "Well, what's a Stormy Kromer hat?" So he turns around and he tells me this whole big story. And Jorge's staying quiet, and all of a sudden, when the guy's all done, it's this guy right here. When he's all done, he says, "And there's this guy from Ironwood, Michigan that saved it from going out of business." And then Jorge finally said, "Isn't that you, Roberto?" And so then the kid didn't believe us, thought we were joking him and all that. Then he couldn't believe it. Then he wanted his picture taken with me. Then about 6 months later, he emailed me and said, "Sarah and I are getting married. I want to get married in Stormy Kromer hats." So we trimmed them in yellow to match the flowers on the ladies' dresses.
Nice. That's good stuff.
Yeah. So that, when I bought the company, they made a red hat and a black hat, and then this is what's available now.
Wow.
So we've kind of worked from. Look at it, signed and everything. Look at that.
How much to purchase that?
Yeah, it's priceless.
I forgot about this.
As a new employee of Rough Grouse Society, I started in December of 2008. In January, Tracy and Kim were at the SHOT Show. No, we were at the Outdoor Retailers Show. And I'd only been an employee for like 2 months. Bob's out there with the booth, and he's got a picture of me wearing Kromer gear.
We did.
It's
our background was kind of like what you just had.
Sure.
Big, it was bigger than that.
And it's me. And the girls they start calling me up. Hey, can we have your autograph? Can we do this? I'm like, what's going on? I
forgot about that,
And they send me a picture. I'm like, oh, Bob, I'm going to kill you.
Hey, smile for one. Yeah.
Good morning. I'm Dave Johnson, Regional Director for the Western Great Lakes, the Rough Grouse Society. I'm here today at a Michigan gem site called Bluebill Creek. Sitting next to me is Matt Tingstad. And Matt, how long have you been involved with the Superior chapter?
Oh, probably 6 years now.
6
7
years.
years.
How did you get involved?
My dad was involved, and my dad's good friend was involved, and he was just moving on and didn't have the wheels to keep up with the group. So he passed on the torch to me one day. He said, "Show up at this dinner at 6 o'clock," and Swede was there. And I said, "Okay, where's it at? What do I do now?"
And the following year, I called Matt up and I said, "You're now the habitat sheriff for the Superior chapter. You need to talk to this guy and this guy and this guy." So this site that we're at was developed starting in 1989 by the Superior chapter in cooperation with the Ottawa National Forest Service. And it encompasses, I believe, about 8,000 acres. To my knowledge, we've got about 8 miles of hunter walking trails that have been maintained. We've done some wildlife plantings over the years, and hopefully an ongoing forestry management program with the Forest Service. Now you've got two youngsters. Are this something that you were hoping that Race will get busy and join us?
Yeah, it's for sure. Yeah, we have them out quite a bit right now in the backpacks, mostly looking for deer. But the wife likes to bird hunt. We have a pretty good bird dog now that we take out. So
Yeah, Ellie did a nice job.
yeah.
And I guess what attracts you into grouse hunting, because you do a lot of different things. You know, you like to deer hunt, turkey hunt. What makes grouse hunting so special for you?
Okay, I had a conversation, the exact same conversation last time with my buddy Luke, and basically what it is that when you're specifically looking for grouse, they habitat. They live in such a huge area that you can basically just pick on a map and just walk a huge area. And you're grouse hunting while you're exploring more country and checking out more country and stuff. So you're not looking for a specific spot. You're walking and you're finding birds and you're just exploring new country that you'll never otherwise be in, besides for looking for grouse.
I did a lot of my exploring in the early years on a mountain bike. You know, when everybody else was watching out for logs and stumps, I was watching out for grouse cover. So that's how I found a lot of these places, and vice versa. I found a lot of good mountain biking by grouse hunting.
Okay.
One of the things that I know as a young father, you're recently married with 2 little kids, and you've got a law practice, and you've got snowmobiling and everything else. You must feel it's very important to give back to the resource, to the community.
Oh, absolutely. Like this jump site here, when you're telling me the history about how you planted thornapple bushes back in the
1989, 1990.
and
yeah.
then to come back today and see them still growing. I mean,
yeah.
remember that specific tree? There's so many trees out there, but some are just special.
There's a couple spots back here on one of the loops that we cleared a site on a south-facing hill and planted thorn apples in there. And for a couple of years, we came back and did some hand nipping to keep the brush from growing into it. Some of those trees now are 10, 12, 15 feet tall. And I mean, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and here you come across a grove of thorn apple trees, and you're like, how did they get here? You know,
Yeah.
people, they're looking at it going, who planted these? Or how,
Yeah.
you know, did a bird drop a thorn apple here? You know, it was a bunch of birds. It was it was a bunch of us from our chapter.
Oh, yeah.
So, what do you got planned for us this afternoon?
Okay, we'll head over to some of the Ottawa National Forest over by you and Bruce Crossing, more of the clay country over there, and see what kind of birds are there. That's kind of where I do a lot of walking, and this place is really cool. I like this, so I think I'll probably be here mountain biking next spring, and
Poke around.
yeah, it's a cool area.
One last question. Still both of you. If you guys are talking to a new hunter, and this person is interested in getting into grouse hunting or interested in getting into involvement with the Rough Grouse Society, what would you tell them?
You first.
Okay. Actually, first thing I'd tell them is that grouse do fly, and that you can shoot them in the air. And once people learn that, that it's pretty classic, because shooting a bird out of the air, which I was lucky enough to have my father bring me and just keep giving me shells for a couple of years to actually hit one, and change the choke in my gun so I could actually hit one. When you start shooting them out of the air and have the opportunity, it just brings you into the next stage where, yeah, you're getting some food out of it, but your grouse is good to eat, but you're just out in the woods and you're exploring, and it's just so much more of a, it's actually become family, because the whole family can go out there and just walk trails like this. I mean, you could bring a kid in your backpack down here and you put some earmuffs on him and hunt all day long. And that's easy. So it's you don't need any scent control. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. You don't need tree stands. You don't need, bear dogs, any of that stuff. You just need a dog, or just walk, a good pair of boots, and just go walk and have fun with it. And that's all it is, and you're going to get birds. You put enough time in, you're going to get birds, guaranteed.
Every year I try to take somebody new out to expose them to the sport, because I think the best exposure that we can give them is a one-on-one exposure behind a good bird dog, and it doesn't matter if you shoot a bird. It's getting out. I often describe the smells in the fall in the woods as being like in a portobello paradise. It smells like portobello mushrooms, and the crunch of the leaves under your feet and the colors just really. Grouse hunting is more than an activity. It's, you want to call it an infection or a sickness. I've had it bad for most of my life, and I've got, always had bird dogs, and I just absolutely live to get out like we did today.
That primarily.
An old wing nest. Same gun. That's the light.
This is basically an overflow wing nest.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The magnum.
Yeah.
Grouse. Flush. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come here, Ellie. Can I hold the horn like I got credit for this? Yeah. Let's do one of these.
Huh. Okay, look here. Ellie.
Connor, see. There's food.
Oh, one more time. Look at me.
The holiday shells came.